Here they are huddling with 1:35 to go.
You can hear Tirico getting nervous, right? Here they are huddling here. Like there's a little bit of like, what are you doing?
I know when you ask me about these injuries and I give you my thoughts, if you really want to figure it out, I think Danny O'Neill has the best translations for me.
End-of-game situations in the NFL are one of the most important, most talked about, most second-guessed elements of the game, but I also think one of the most poorly understood. And I want to really kind of put a microscope under some of those and use some case studies to look at the decisions and the procedures that teams take. They're two different things, and how they manage those. My name is Danny O'Neill. I write a Substack called The Dang Apostrophe. I'm a long-time, I guess you'd say, NFL media member. I covered the Seattle Seahawks from 2005 to 2013 for daily newspapers in Seattle, and then worked 8 years at the radio station that is the flagship station for the Seahawks, 710 AM there in Seattle. Continue to travel and cover the team on a daily basis and host a radio show. And I've always been fascinated by these. And it's really, really important. I don't want to say it's easy, because it's not, because you have like multiple different moving factors that make it really, really complicated and easy to get confused. Not the least of which is you have a running clock. Like you have something applying pressure. But ultimately, these are decisions that you should make logically based on the range of potential outcomes with an idea of what gives you the best chance of success. I'm yammering on long enough. Let's start with the case study. This is Sunday night. Bengals have a lead. They have a 7-point lead. The Ravens need a touchdown to tie. They have the ball after a punt and a penalty at the Bengals 46. There are 3 minutes and 14 seconds left. Bengals have Bengals have 3 timeouts. Ravens have 2. Let's start.
Terrific starting field position. Everything you could ask for Baltimore. At the Bengals 46. Huntley out quick. Mark Andrews to the 40. Gain of 6.
Pause. No decision to be made here. You gain 6 yards. Cost you 4 seconds. Clock is stopped. You've got 2nd and 4.
With a little cushion, too. Huntley's going to pull it and run it to the right with the blocking going to the left. And the Bengals have been all over that multiple times tonight. Gain of 2.
We get the benefit of stopping to take stock of everything. They've gained 2 yards. The clock is running. It's 3rd and 2. He was tackled there up with about 3 minutes left on the clock. That play started with 3 minutes and 10 seconds. I don't think there's an issue here with letting the clock run. You're not going to use one of your 2 timeouts. You're in a pretty manageable 3rd down. The Ravens are going to stay in sort of normal speed. They're huddling. They're taking. I don't have an issue with that. I don't think anybody should.
2.5 to go.
Probably run it twice here, right?
Mm-hmm. Andy Isabella in motion. Fake to him. They throw it. It's caught, and it's close to the first down. As the ball comes out, was he down first? Ruled down first was Justice Hill, and ruled a first down by the down judge.
Down by contact. Result of the play is a first down.
Now it's getting a little more complicated. It looks like the Ravens have a first down. The clock is running, closing in on the 2-minute warning. Baltimore's decision, should it try to run a play on this side of the 2-minute warning? Should it try to run one more play on this side of the 2-minute warning? Let's look at that. Right now, Baltimore thinks it's going to have 1st and 10, the 28. At this point, you're a little worried about how much time you're going to leave them, right? You're at the fringe of the red zone. You've got to acknowledge that Cincinnati has 3 timeouts. You have 2 timeouts. The clock really isn't a factor for you yet. You know it could become one. But you've also got to have in the back of your mind, like, you want to limit how much time Cincinnati has left. And this is where it gets complicated, because you have the need to score a touchdown. You don't have any wiggle room about it being able to attempt a field goal. But you also have the knowledge that scoring a touchdown isn't necessarily the end of regulation. Because if you score with 1:30, if you score with a minute left, if you score with 40 seconds left, Cincinnati has 3 timeouts. Like, that's a decent shot, and all they're going to need is a field goal. I think letting it run to the 2-minute warning is fine.
Patrick Holt, the down judge, initially says first down. He's right on the line. That's short.
It's well short.
Now, it's 2-minute warning time here. However, this play happens on the fat side of the 2-minute warning. So the
shout out to Tirico. I hadn't heard that before. The fat side of the 2-minute warning. That's awesome. I'm going to use that. They're on the fat side of the 2-minute warning. I managed the little fat cap at the end of like a pork chop. The fat side of the 2-minute warning.
Bengals would have to challenge unless replay assist changes it. And Zach Taylor's over there by the official.
This is the 2-minute warning.
All right, the situation has changed a little bit because it's now at the 2-minute warning, but we're going to go to 4th and inches, right? We've just seen the replay that's shown the Bengals are going to challenge it, and it's going to get moved back. If you're the Ravens, does that cause you to rethink whether or not you use a timeout?
Even though this play happened with 2 and change left on the clock, they're going to have the clock down at the 2-minute warning. There's no reset the clock and start it on the ready for play.
Down by contact, short of the first down. 4th down.
They didn't mention why that is, but I think it's important to mention. It's not reset because both teams let the clock continue to run. Like, if the replay review had determined something that would have stopped the clock, like it was an incomplete pass or the ball was the runner was out of bounds, something like that, they would have put the time back on. The reason they didn't put any time back on and go back to the end of the play is both teams let the clock run. So, well, they changed the ruling. The runner was still in bounds, so there was it didn't change anything logistically. It's just now 4th and 1 instead of 1st and 10 at the 2-minute warning.
4th and inches, Huntley looking for space. He's got the first down at the 33-yard line. He baits the tackle, and the clock will run now. Final minute 50.
All right, let's reset things. New set of downs. 1st and 10 at the 33. Huntley's down and sort of up. Minute 53 to a minute 50. What are the decisions that Baltimore has here? Call a timeout? I think that's too soon. You've got 2 of those. You're within striking distance of the end zone. Now, the other decision you have is, do you go hurry up now? Do you start accelerating the pace that you're playing at? I still don't think you play fast. Again, you're trying to manage not just your ability to score a touchdown, but what's on the back end. I don't have an issue with them leaving the clock running. I think it's a good strategy. You've got 2 timeouts that control your ability to stop the clock. You're inside of the 2-minute warning. You're now at the 33. I think you feel like you're pretty well positioned. I don't have any objections.
Here they are huddling with a minute 35 to go. Needing a touchdown here. 2 receivers to Marcus Robinson. Sammy Watkins, top of the...
You can hear Tirico getting nervous, right? Here they are huddling here. Like, there's a little bit of like, what are you doing? So it's 1:27. It's been 33 seconds since they snapped the ball on that 4th and 1 conversion because it was at the 2-minute warning.
Screen. Dobbins joins them out there. Huntley protected, throws, incomplete. Almost a game ender for Logan Wilson.
All right. Passed, clock stopped. You got a chance to take your breath. There's no real decision here. You're going to face 2nd and 10, and you don't have a moving clock.
James Prochet plays few offensive snaps. He's at the top of the screen, a speedster. Minute 20 left. Huntley comes underneath and is caught in a tight window with a flag down. Robinson with the catch. Check the flag. It's going to be on Cincinnati, the preliminary indication. That helps the Ravens because the flag will stop the clock.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense number 29. 5-yard penalty at the previous spot. Automatic first down.
The rookie Cam Taylor-Britt.
Okay, it's a break for Baltimore, right? You get a penalty which stops the clock, and gives you an automatic first down. You've now got 1st and 10. You're at the Cincinnati 28, and you've got 77 seconds left, a minute 17.
Tyler Huntley with a 5-man rush, throws underneath. There goes Dobbins spinning right at the line, got the first down. They blow the whistle there.
All right, the clock's running, but we're going to pause. We've got a minute 3 left on a clock that's running, and J.K. Dobbins just picked up the first down. You're now in the red zone, and you've got just over a minute to go and 2 timeouts remaining. Do you use one of them here? You could. You're only going to have 1 left at that point. Also, now we've got to consider you're in scoring range, right? Like you could score on a play without it being even a deep pass. You're 18 yards outside the end zone. Do you call the timeout? Do you go fast? Baltimore stays in its normal tempo, and that starts to get the announcers stressed.
At the 17-yard line, and the clock runs inside the final minute here. And still they huddle.
Tirico is cracking me up. Like he's mentioned the huddling twice. He's mentioned took a lot of time. Like you could tell he's antsy. He's puckering. His butt's getting tight.
17-yard line. And the season ticking down for the Ravens.
Well, it just removes some options as far as being able to potentially run the football as you let it tick away.
Okay, I want to talk about it because now it's interesting. They're at the line. It's 37 seconds. They have let a significant amount of time run off the clock. 40 seconds have gone off the clock from the time their last play started. That completion over the middle to Dobbins. Is that a bad thing? I would say that this is right about where the Ravens want. As far as running the ball, it takes away some options, is what Collinsworth said. Is that true? Say they go as fast as you. They switch into hurry up because they're not in hurry up. They have not. They're still huddling. They're still in normal. Should they have made the decision to go to hurry up there? Maybe. But let's play that out. What happens if you do that? Dobbins gets the first down with a running clock, and you've got 1st and 10 at the 17. What's the soonest that you could get to the line of scrimmage?
They blow the whistle there at the 17-yard line, and the clock runs inside the final minute here.
Let's stop it there and evaluate options again. 60 seconds left. 1st and 10 at the Cincinnati 17, and Baltimore has 2 timeouts. Do you take a timeout? That would leave you with 1 left. So you could, but what happens if you score on your next play? Well, then you got the problem of that there's, less than a minute, but like 45, 50 seconds that Cincinnati has with 3 timeouts to try and score a touchdown off that. Okay, so that's the first part. Do you go hurry up? Yeah, you could. Then you're probably at the line at, 55? Maybe 50 seconds? Do you kill the clock then? Well, that wastes a down. So you're now 2nd and 10 with a stopped clock with, say, 50 seconds left. Is that a better situation than going normal tempo and getting to the line with 37 seconds to go? I don't know. Now let's look at the downside of what Baltimore just did. Because they're not trying to sort of preserve every second, you could say that they're costing themselves opportunities at the goal line to get this touchdown that they need. They can't settle for a field goal. They need a touchdown. Maximum number of plays from scrimmage you'd have at this point is, 8? You're 1st and 10 at the 17. You could conceivably gain another first down at the 7 and then have 4 more plays with a goal to go. You're not going to have time to run those 8 plays, even with the 2 timeouts. Or if you do run them, you're going to have all passes. So if it's not completed, it's going to eliminate options. I just don't buy the idea that by Baltimore hurrying up here, they cost themselves opportunities to run. you can run here because you have the 2 timeouts. I just think you're equally capable of running with 37 seconds left on the clock compared to 50 seconds left on the clock after you've downed it or called a timeout.
And 33 seconds left. Huntley throws in the middle. It is broken up by Pratt, who had the game-clinching interception on Wild Card Weekend last year against the Raiders. Almost had it.
Complete pass. Clock stops. There's no decision. It's also worth noting you're now at the point where Baltimore, who's just kind of taken their first shot at the end zone, Andrews was just outside, but he could have scored on that play, where Baltimore feels if they score a touchdown now, the game's going to overtime. They'll kick the extra point, the game will go to overtime. That you've taken enough of the clock off that there's no need to worry about that anymore. You don't have to worry about leaving too much time for Cincinnati.
29 seconds left. Justice Hill's the back, and they're going to run with Hill. Tries to bounce to the outside. Apple is there. He goes out of bounds, but there is a flag down back where the blocking happened.
Holding. Offense number 70. 2-yard penalty. Replay second down.
Kevin Zeitler.
Now Baltimore's got a problem. You got to hold. It's pushing you out of the red zone. Clock is stopped. 22 seconds left, but you're now 2nd and 10 at the opponents at the Cincinnati 27. If there's a criticism of the way that Baltimore managed the situation, it's this. They didn't leave themselves wiggle room for a mistake like this. By taking the clock down and saying, okay, we're going to keep our 2 timeouts, we're not going to go hurry up, we're going to get it inside of 30 seconds, you felt much better about scoring a touchdown at the 18 than you did now that you're pushed back to, well, it's the 27, and you've got 2nd and 20 after the penalty. And the question isn't sort of, should Baltimore have left more time? Because obviously now the answer is yes. The question is, did Baltimore's decision to bleed the clock to minimize the chance of Cincinnati kicking a game-winning field goal should the Ravens score a game-tying touchdown, was that less important than leaving themselves wiggle room if a mistake like this happened?
Former Bengal flag there. And now wouldn't you like to have that time left on the clock?
I still don't understand it.
22 seconds left.
Well, the time on the clock, to me, I understand it because they want to minimize, they're playing against trying to minimize the chances that the Bengals would kick a field goal after the Ravens scored. It looks different now because of the hold. It looks different now where you're like, okay, you're now on the fringe instead of in the red zone. You still got shots. You've got 3 plays to pick this up. You've still got your 2 timeouts. You've got 22 seconds.
2nd and 20. Fake to Hill, only a 3-man rush. Huntley gonna launch it, and it's incomplete. Not close to anything. Andrews again, blanketed. 15 seconds remaining. Huntley retreating. Now looking to throw. In trouble as he fires sideline, incomplete. Down to 1 play. Timeout Baltimore. They use one here.
A lot of wasted time.
They huddled twice from 2 minutes to around 1:30 or so. And then once it got inside of a minute when they picked up a first down.
So he's right. They did waste time. They wasted it at a point where they were trying to manage the other side of a potential touchdown. And it's not that I don't want to score too quick. It is you've got control of the clock at that point because you've got 2 timeouts. It looks different now, but it looks different now because of the hold. And really, if you go back, they have 1st and 10, the 28, and then they have 1st and 10 at the 17 with 48 seconds left. And they end up running a total of 5 plays after this next one. They didn't run out of clock. They ran out of downs. I'm not sure how much the clock ends up impacting the Ravens here on their final 5 snaps. Their decisions weren't dictated by the clock. They felt they were in control of the situation. And you can look back at it and say, okay, you could have done it differently, and it would have been nice to have that extra time, given the holding penalty. You picked it up, but the holding penalty is kind of the outlier.
Season on the line, 4th and 20. Can Tyler Huntley do it? 4-man rush, retreating, puts it up for grabs, and it is deflected, and Crochet almost had it. He couldn't bring it in, and the Bengals survive.
I'm going to give the Ravens a B, maybe even a B+ on their clock management. I don't have the issues the announcers did, and I think that's because the announcers look at it strictly with an eye toward what's the offense's goal. The offense's goal was to get a touchdown. They could have managed the clock better with that regard. But if you're looking at how to win the game, it's not just your offense's success that you have to account for or to understand, but what happens on the other side of it. I think that the risk Baltimore ran, which was running out of or not giving itself margin for an error like a holding penalty, was outweighed by the fact that had they not gotten that holding penalty, they were in good position where if they did score a touchdown, that Cincinnati was unlikely to be able to kick a field goal to win it before it went to overtime. So I think it actually shows, I think Baltimore was fairly smart and unfortunate to suffer the holding penalty. If you like this video, let me know. And I say that because this is the first one. I'd kind of like to do more of these because I think it's possible to learn about who the best teams are at managing these. Is it more coach or quarterback? What are the teams that are poor at them? When defenses do it well? I think there's a lot to learn from end of game and even end of half situations. So if you liked it, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. And please check out my Substack. It is the Dang Apostrophe, available on Substack, or you can just Google Danny O'Neill, the Dang Apostrophe.